If you want to watch every episode of the Stop and Go F1 Retro Review of 1981 right now, you can do so by becoming a Mansell Mustache member. Click the link in the description below. Adam and the Ants Stand and Deliver is the biggest song in the world. Friday the 13th Part 2 is the biggest film in the world. And American Airlines have just introduced the first ever frequent flyer program. But more importantly, it's time for the San Marino Grand Prix of 1981. And the news is all around Lotus because their car is still banned and Colin Chapman is not happy at all with the current car they have being too slow. So they have withdrawn both cars from this race but promised to be back later on in the season with a car that is both legal and quick. Now you may remember some controversy in the last race around Brabham's hydraulic system. That controversy has now subsided because this weekend every team has turned up with their own hydraulic system. Tyrrell have fired their second driver of the year, with Riccardo Zanino being fired and replaced by Michele Alboreto. Elsewhere on the grid, a brand new team has joined Formula One, the Tolman team, although both of their drivers have failed to qualify for the race. And now to the race itself. It is Gilles Villeneuve on pole position for one of Ferrari's two home races of the year, with championship leader Carlos Reutemann alongside him. It's an all-Renault second row with Arnoux ahead of Prost, Piquet is 5th, Pironi in 6th, Jordan Watson in 7th and Alan Jones a disappointing 8th. And to the race, and again it is another wet race here, but this time Nelson Piquet actually has wet tyres on. Surely no one will be stupid enough to put dry tyres on a wet racetrack ever again.
How is the grid going to get away as the lights go green? Let's watch. It's a lovely getaway for Carlos Reutemann, who's going to take the lead as they come up to the first left-hander at the Tamburello. But as he does so, it's one of the Ferraris that are punching through, and it's Gilles Villeneuve, and right behind him Didier Pironi. Reutemann is in 3rd position, Alan Jones is in 4th place, so already on the first half lap, the two turbo Ferraris are in the lead, and that's Angel Guerra, the Argentine driver, in the Osella car, who is off and is still in the cockpit, and I wonder why he's not getting out.
Now, world champion Alan Jones did have a disappointing qualifying, but hopefully he can turn that round in the race. Let's go check in on him now.
Alan Jones into the pits, and the nose is coming off. It's quite clear why he came in.
And something I forgot to say as well is Slim Borgard is in this race today, who is the drummer from ABBA, who has an ABBA-sponsored car.
Who drums for ABBA, who have sponsored his car. You'll see the word ABBA on the side of it.
Let's check in on Alan Jones again.
Alan Jones is having... This is interesting. Alan Jones has not only had a new nose put on the car, but he's having dry tyres put on. Slick tyres that are suitable for dry conditions, and I wonder if that is a wise decision.
Meanwhile, an ambulance has joined this race and is currently beating Alan Jones. And breaking news here, there is an umbrella on the top of the grandstand. No one is sure how it got there or how it's going to get down. More news on this story as we get it. Let's check in on Alan Jones. Oh, he's been lapped by Villeneuve and Pironi. There we go.
Underneath the wing of the Theodore car, which Tombe is driving, and resumes his team station in a moment, because now he goes straight past the world champion, and that shows how ill-advised Alan Jones was to fit that. He nearly lost the car there, and Tombe passes Jones, and that shows how, as I was saying, ill-advised Alan Jones was to go onto dry tyres, because he's losing seconds a lap now. A very bad decision, and a surprisingly bad one for Alan Jones, of all people, to make.
And now it's time to take our bi-weekly visit to Mystic Murray.
It would seem that the race must be in the bag now for Villeneuve and Pironi, provided they can just keep going. That's the only question in my mind. Will the Ferraris be reliable?
So there you go, you heard it from Murray himself. This race is in the bag for Ferrari. Of course, Ferrari not known at all for making really stupid strategy errors that cost them races.
That's Villeneuve into the pits. Gilles Villeneuve has gone into the pits. He must have heard me speaking and decided he'd prove me wrong. Pironi goes through into the lead. Patrese goes up into second place. Piquet is coming up at fast, and there is pandemonium. Italian pandemonium in the pits. Far too many people there. They should never all be allowed there. Imagine what it must be like. Try to work on that car as a mechanic. And there is Villeneuve, and he's come in. Well, this is quite incredible because Villeneuve, that's Keke Rosberg. It's all about tyres, this race. Keke Rosberg, incidentally, is on Avon tyres, who have entered the tyre war against Michelin in particular, and against Pirelli, who would have been on the Tolman cars if they'd qualified. But the amazing thing is that Villeneuve, like Alan Jones, has opted to fit dry tyres. I just cannot understand it.
So, Pironi is now in the lead as Villeneuve has pitted for dry tyres during a wet race. Let's go check in on Villeneuve now, actually.
He's definitely gaining, and Villeneuve, in that clutter of people somewhere, is Villeneuve, who I am told is changing back to wet tyres, and how wise he is and how wrong he was to come in for dry tyres.
And on the thought of that, actually, we haven't checked in on Alan Jones for a while. Let's see where Alan Jones is.
Cesaris, Chiva and Andretti has dropped back. Alan Jones has given it best. Alan Jones has given it best, like Villeneuve. Look at the tyres, see the grooves. Mark Sura the same. Both Jones and Sura, who were on wet tyres, dry tyres, have decided to come in and give themselves a chance to get grip by going on to wet tyre.
Back to the front of the race, and Piquet is now putting a lot of pressure on Patrese for P2.
And that is the battle for second place between the Italian in the Orange Arrows car, Riccardo Patrese, and the Brazilian Nelson Piquet, the man who won the Argentine Grand Prix in the Brabham. Great stuff.
Shall we check in on Alan Jones again?
Alan Jones is going to be lapped again.
And Piquet has now passed Patrese and is chasing down Didier Pironi for the lead of this race.
Piquet second it has there, and there is the answer. Piquet has got ahead of Patrese. Somehow or other the producers missed it. That must have been a dramatic moment because Nelson Piquet has only got one thing between him and victory, two things between him and victory. The first thing is Didier Pironi, and the second thing would be reliability of the Brabham if he could catch and get past Pironi, which is by no means a foregone conclusion.
But it's now time for the F1 Marshal of the Week.
That's Eliseo Salazar. Eliseo Salazar, the Chilean driver in the March, has stalled his car at the Variante Bassa, and a very confused and unhappy looking marshal who doesn't know whether to wave his flag, push the car or get out of the way. Well, he's going to do all three, I think. He's got rid of the pushing responsibility. Now this is uphill. It's illegal to push start the car even if they can get it going, and they have.
And now we have an incredibly tight battle between Chiva, Giacomelli and the amazing Andrea De Cesaris.
So there's De Cesaris, 7th. Giacomelli, 8th. Eddie Chiva in 9th position. John Watson behind Chiva in 10th place. There's Chiva, 9th. Watson, 10th. And still the battle rages ahead.
Although Chiva and Giacomelli decide to make it a little less close.
It is certainly getting, and somebody off. It's an Alfa Romeo off. It looks, yeah, it's Bruno Giacomelli. You remember, Giacomelli was and Chiva's off. Chiva and Giacomelli have taken each other off. Now, whose fault it was, if anybody's, I don't know. Eddie Chiva looks as though he's trying to regain the circuit as the other competitors pass him, but he was just parking. He's getting out of the car.
At the front of this race, though, we have a three-way battle for the lead. It is Pironi versus Piquet versus Tournbay. Tournbay is being lapped, but he won't get out the bloody way. Tournbay has finally decided that he should maybe get out of the way of the battle for the lead, but not too far behind. Riccardo Patrese is catching up. Now, the race has been ruined for Gilles Villeneuve due to bad strategy, but he's currently setting fastest lap after fastest lap and has fought his way back to 7th place after 2 pit stops. But we have an incredible battle for the lead here between Piquet and Pironi, with a fantastic attacking driving from Piquet and a fantastic defensive driving from Pironi.
Challenging all the time, just showing Pironi the nose of the Brabham, then moving across to the other side, then staying behind, as much to say, I'm still here, Didier, don't forget me, and he's coming up to try and take him at the Acqua Minerale. Pironi holds the line. I was a bit ahead of myself. They're on the way to the Acqua Minerale now, and Piquet really challenges right up alongside. And Pironi needed all his cool there to stay where he was entitled to be and force Piquet to brake. And if Pironi has got any worry factors inside him, they must certainly be working now, because Piquet's giving him a very hard time. And in fact, Piquet is having the hardest time of all on the circuit, because on the one hand, he's got Pironi in front of him. On the other hand, in the spare moments when he's got to look in his mirrors, he will see Patrese there getting closer and closer, and he's making his challenge. Piquet is challenging, and he's through. We have a new race leader. This is the 3rd different leader we've had on lap 48. This is.
But it looks like Pironi's tyres are completely gone as Piquet is able to get past him. And Patrese has got past Pironi as well, as it looks like Reutemann is now on a charge.
Pironi, Patrese, Reutemann, and Reutemann challenging. Reutemann challenging Didier Pironi. And that is interesting, because it means that Patrese is through, yes. So now Patrese is through and behind Piquet. There is Pironi, and now with Piquet leading Patrese, with Pironi in 3rd position and Reutemann in 4th. Carlos Reutemann is demonstrating that there really must be something wrong with the Renault, and as I said, with the Ferrari, and I suspect it's tyres. Didier Pironi, who led the race for so long in the Ferrari, dropped back to 2nd place, and now he's going to drop back to 4th, because Reutemann goes through. Carlos Reutemann goes through into 3rd position, and that could make a big difference to him, because it means that he gets 4 championship points if he finishes in 3rd position.
And Gilles Villeneuve is back in the points, up to P6 despite everything. Looks like Villeneuve will get some points from this race. I'm sure nothing else can possibly go wrong for the Canadian.
That's Villeneuve. Villeneuve has slowed right. Look how slow the Ferrari's going. He's slowed right down. Oh, I was wrong. Something's gone wrong. He speeds up again, but not nearly enough. Villeneuve is in trouble. He must have lost his 6th position to Andrea de Cesaris, and that's a very bitter pill after such a superb drive.
And as we cross the line, Piquet wins the fantastic San Marino Grand Prix, becoming the first repeat winner of 1981 with back-to-back victories. Patrese is 2nd, Reutemann completes the podium and is still leading the championship. Hector Rabac is 4th, Didier Pironi fell down to 5th after a fantastic defence destroyed his tyres. And in 6th, it is the amazing Andrea de Cesaris, who gets a fantastic 1 point. Villeneuve just finishing outside the points in 7th. And how about Alan Jones? Well, he's 12th and 2 laps down. Join us next time for the Belgian Grand Prix.